The engines groaned, the alarms screamed, and in the blink of an eye, a floating city holding $100 million jackpot was taken hostage by men with rusty ladders and loaded Kalashnikovs. This was not a Hollywood movie. This was the ultimate high-stakes maritime heist on the open ocean. The vast, shimmering expanse of the Indian Ocean has always been a highway for global wealth. But in November of 2008, it became the stage for the most audacious criminal operation in seafaring history. High-value cargo ships had been targeted by pirates before, but what happened 450 nautical miles off the coast of Kenya shocked international navies and changed the face of modern security forever. The motor vessel Sirius Star was not just a ship, it was a floating island. A Saudi-owned very large crude carrier, it stretched over 1,000 feet long, the size of a nuclear aircraft carrier. On that quiet afternoon, the supertanker was cutting through the deep blue waters, fully loaded with 2 million barrels of crude oil, a cargo valued at over $100 million. Because of its sheer size and the massive distance from the chaotic coastline of Somalia, the crew of 25 felt completely safe. They believed they were well beyond the reach of the desperate skiff-bound militia that plagued the Gulf of Aden. But maritime piracy had evolved into an industrial enterprise. Using captured fishing trawlers as motherships to extend their range deep into international waters, a heavily armed faction of Somali pirates had been tracking the massive vessel. From the deck of the Sirius Star, the horizon suddenly broke as a tiny, high-speed skiff materialized out of the glare of the water. To the crew looking down from the towering bridge, the approaching boat must have looked like an insect. Yet, within minutes, that insect proved lethal. Armed with ladders, grappling hooks, and rifles, the attackers scaled the massive steel hull with terrifying speed. Before the crew could execute evasive maneuvers or call for immediate military intervention, the pirates had breached the bridge. Pointing weapons at the captain and taking total control of the $100 million Leviathan. The news hit international naval commands like a thunderbolt. The pirates had accomplished the impossible, seizing a vessel so large it defied the conventional rules of maritime security. They ordered the captain to turn the supertanker around, steering the massive prize back toward the notorious pirate haven of Hararde, a lawless stronghold on the Somali coast. As the Sirius Star dropped its massive anchors just miles from the beach, it became a towering symbol of pirate defiance, visible from the shore and tracked constantly by high-tech military satellites spinning overhead. For the 25 crew members on board, a mix of citizens from Croatia, the Philippines, Poland, Saudi Arabia, and the United Kingdom, a psychological war of attrition had just begun. They were trapped on a floating bomb. The vessel held millions of gallons of highly flammable crude oil. A single stray bullet or an escalation in violence could trigger a catastrophic explosion. The pirates, numbering dozens as reinforcements arrived from the mainland, turned the luxury quarters of the ship into a crowded, chaotic headquarters. They were not interested in political statements or the cargo itself. They wanted cold, hard cash, and they knew the Saudi owners had the resources to pay. Back in the boardrooms and diplomatic offices, an intense, clandestine game of high-stakes poker began. The pirate commanders demanded an initial ransom of $25 million. Insurance companies, security firms, and government liaisons launched into intense negotiations over encrypted satellite phones. Week after week, the standoff dragged on into the burning heat of the tropical winter. The crew remained confined, surviving on dwindling ship rations, subjected to the psychological torment of uncertain fates, while international warships patrolled just beyond the horizon, unable to storm the ship for fear of a bloodbath or an environmental disaster. Slowly, the astronomical demands were whittled down through tense, professional negotiation. A final figure was agreed upon, $3 million. But delivering millions of dollars in cash to a hijacked supertanker in the middle of a lawless zone presented a whole new logistical nightmare. Traditional bank transfers were useless. The pirates demanded physical, unmarked United States currency, and they wanted it delivered directly to the ship. On a tense morning in January 2009, over 2 months after the initial seizure, a small, unmarked propeller plane took off from a secure airfield in the region. Strapped inside the aircraft were waterproof, shock-resistant containers packed with tight stacks of $100 bills. As the plane buzzed low over the sparkling waters near Hijacking, the pilots lined up with the massive deck of the Sirius Star. The crew and the heavily armed pirates watched from below as the bay doors opened. The containers plummeted through the sky, attached to parachutes that bloomed against the blue. They splashed into the ocean just alongside the vessel, where waiting pirates in small boats quickly fished them out of the water. On board the supertanker, the atmosphere shifted from tense hostility to frenzied celebration. The pirates used counting machines and chemical testers brought from the mainland to verify that every single bill was authentic. With the cash secured and verified, the pirates prepared to leave, splitting the millions among the various investors, fighters, and local leaders who had financed the operation. But the ocean is a fickle partner. As the final group of pirates loaded their shares of the ransom into a small skiff to head back to the Somali beach, a sudden, violent storm whipped up the sea. Their overloaded boat, weighed down by weapons and bags of heavy cash, capsized in the churning surf. 5 of the pirates drowned in the chaotic waves, and a significant portion of the hard-won ransom vanished forever into the seafloor. The remaining pirates fled into the lawless interior of Somalia, and the Sirius Star was finally released. The exhausted but unharmed crew weighed anchor and steered the massive supertanker back out into the safety of the deep ocean, bringing an end to one of the most dramatic standoffs in seafaring history.
If you liked our video, then please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the crash for more entertaining stuff.